Dive in. Welcome. How's your week going?
It's going pretty good so far.
Yeah?
Yeah, getting over being sick a little bit, so
That's nice.
yeah.
What, you just sick with?
I think either just really bad allergies and like I've had a sore throat, stuffy nose, no energy.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. Is that pretty common for you? Is just allergies with the season?
Kind of common. Weak immune system. Kind of get sick a lot.
All right. Well, it's a bummer. It's no fun. So getting sick sucks. So cool. Well, tell me something. I'm going to update I'm not typing or, Googling things, I promise, but I'm keeping notes of you. So, obviously what PDI, we have a system, keep track of everybody. So when you start to coach a team and everything, this is, what you want to familiarize yourself with. So it's basically kind of like just a record for every single rep, so that when we're coaching, when we're talking, when we're setting anything up, we can keep track of things, action steps, things like that. So I'll be looking at my computer a lot for that, but it'll be good. So tell me something that I don't know about you, something new.
Something new?
Yep.
I don't know if we ever talked about this, but I'm going to be starting my fashion line sometime soon, kind of getting into that, getting that business up and running, I guess.
That's awesome. Is that going to be the same as Isaac's or different?
Oh, no, different. He's wanting to go in with me and do something like that, but his is more of a brand.
Okay.
Putting a brand on clothing. Mine's more like actual like clothing, fashion, all that, versus just like t-shirts, sweatshirts.
Got it. Okay. Cool. But you guys can probably help each other.
Yes.
On, branding's branding, right?
Yeah.
So that's cool. What is the name of it going to be? Tell me more.
I do not know a name yet. That is the only thing that I'm still working on and having people help me with. But yeah, so
cool.
No clue.
All right, you got some time to figure it out. Do you have a launch date in mind that you're like?
Not really. Just kind of putting everything together right now, getting a whole set of stuff. Yeah, just kind of a work in progress still. But
girls' clothes, guys' clothes.
Girls, some guys have wanted me to do some stuff for them, but mainly girls at first. It's a lot easier that way.
Cool.
Make more money that way.
Yes. Girls typically spend more on clothes.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Nice. And you live in Edmond?
Yes.
Nice. What part?
Kind of out north in Edmond on like Waterloo and Douglas.
Okay. Yeah, we looked at some homes up there recently, so yeah, it's a nice area. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get a lot of the trees and hills. And
yeah, still kind of country, but still close to town.
Yeah, for sure. Is that where you grew up your whole life?
Oh, no, I moved here from Michigan, but I was born in Louisiana.
Wow.
So I lived in Louisiana until I was around 3, and then Michigan most of my life, and then I moved here about 4 years ago.
Okay, it's been around.
Yeah, around.
Is that military or something different?
Dad's job, but he works with gas and oil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And you've lived here for how long now?
About 4 or 5 years, something around there.
Okay, so most of high school was here?
Yes.
So you got connections all over the place. What high school did you go to, North?
Guthrie.
Guthrie?
Yeah.
So you're really up there.
Yeah, I was out there.
Dang, okay. Jeez. What am I trying to say? Sam Turner. He went to Edmond Memorial, but he almost lives in Guthrie. But his dad has a dental place up there.
He lives by me.
Okay. Yeah. So are you on the split, or you just felt like Guthrie was better?
On the split. Yeah, so technically we live in the Edmond, but Guthrie school districts.
Yeah, that's like our current house. It's like Oklahoma City, Utilities, Edmond, zip code, and Deer Creek school district. It's the weirdest.
That weird little corner right there.
But they're redrawing all the lines, and who knows. So, that's Oklahoma for you. So that's cool. So you went to Guthrie and just graduated last year, right?
Right.
Awesome. Cool. College you're going to right now?
Not going to college right now. Thinking about Francis Tuttle for business. Kind of in between, wanting to know if I need to go to college or not. I feel like I'd only go because I had to. I feel like people make you think you have to go, but still kind of working on that. But if I do go, I'll go to UCO.
Okay. So Francis Tuttle / UCO type of thing?
Yeah.
Got it. What would be a business degree, would that be in alignment with your fashion line, or is there a different dream job?
Yeah, kind of two different things. The fashion's just kind of a side thing, something that people have wanted me to start because they really like the stuff I do.
Yeah.
But I want to be a personal trainer and possibly end up opening my own gym, but go into fitness and health.
Cool. So you're really into health and wellness and exercise and staying active.
Yeah.
You and Isaac are a good fit. This is good. I'm interviewing you for Isaac. I'm
Oh, really?
No, not at all. I'm kidding. I'm just messing with you. But that's pretty awesome. All right, cool. So own a gym or some sort of entrepreneurship type of thing.
Yes.
How long have you done your fashion line for?
Off and on years. Kind of just started because I'm really picky with buying stuff and also don't like to pay, so I started making my own things. And then people wanted to buy some of it, and so then I started making things for other people.
Yeah.
So.
Do you do Etsy or any of those types of things, or is it no?
Yeah, just kind of selling to friends of friends off Instagram.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. What's your favorite piece you've made before?
I don't really have one. I have this jacket that I did once. It was just this leather jacket that I found at a thrift store, but it was super nice. And then I kind of messed with it a little bit and then painted the back of it. And I sold that for a lot. And that was probably one of my favorite things I did because it was a mix with like my art, like painting and all that too. So I thought it was really cool.
Yeah. Creativity pays if you can find the right people. So
right.
I was reading an article recently of a girl that she got a big health degree over in London, and she was going to school and just lost passion for it and called her parents and said, "Hey, how do you feel about me moving back in with you? I'm not going to pursue this anymore. I want to become an artist." And her parents said, "Sure, we'll support you." And so she came back and she was very big in the electronic scene. And so she did the, I don't know what it's called, but it's all the chest glitter or the body glitter or whatever. And so she started that and threw some things on Instagram. And then she also was creating like portraits of people's animals and pets. She was really good at it. And so she just built this thing out of nowhere. And now she's like created a business. And last year she brought in over $1.5 million with it. And she's like, to putting like all kinds of social media prints up. People are like, her best one's gone for like, $50,000, and she's bringing all this cash through doing what she loves and not even pursuing a degree. So I think it's,
cool.
it's there's hope for you is what I'm telling you. Right.
You.
So, and it can be tough and it can take a long time, but it's definitely worthwhile. So that's awesome. Okay, cool. And I know with this job, you've tried it, then kind of left and come back and been a lot more serious with it. So I've been very impressed with you with that. Do you feel like you're enjoying it more now that you're a little more committed?
Yeah, for sure. And I remember when I started last year, I did have multiple other jobs. I kind of only started here because my friends kind of brought me into it. They're like, you're going to do this. You're coming to training this weekend.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah. And so I felt like I wasn't doing it for myself. I was doing it for other people. I didn't have the time for it.
Yeah.
And I didn't dedicate the time to coming to team meetings and stuff. So I never really like learned to love it and learn more about it. And so quit after a little bit.
Sure.
Did like 3 demos, made 3 sales, but just still didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Quit and then came back because I'm looking at it through a different perspective. This is my only job right now, so if I want to make money, then I've got to do it. And then also I know I can learn a lot and learn a bunch of skills. So that's one of the reasons I came back, and not looking at it from the perspective of just money. I'm doing a lot better with it. So.
Yeah, it's great. And it's so interesting. The program works when you follow it. It's just you got to follow it. And
right.
I think that's also, we're going to talk about your future and your AMIT promotion. Congratulations on that. And Bailey and I are very excited about that for you. And we'll talk details. But I think that one of the benefits of the experience that you've had, giving it a try, but not really, and then actually doing it again and actually committing to it, is that you're going to be so much more relatable, and you're going to be able to tell that story to so many people that might come into it for the same reason you did, right? Like, hey, all my friends are doing it. I'm just here because they told me I had to.
Right.
And it's like, hey, let me tell you that path, and let me tell you the other path, and you can kind of paint those pictures, and then hopefully change some lives and get some people actually, being a little bit more committal to the position. Because I think that if we look at it, even with the busy season, even with the other jobs, if we would have probably been more intentional about coaching you and helping you during that first time, if you would have just been doing 3 to 5 demos a week, around the other job, around the busy schedule, I think you still could have sold Dirty 30, 10K, had a successful summer, and sometimes it's just not the right time and place. I tell people all the time that, like, I'm very fortunate for when I started, because it was not during the school year. It was in my winter break. I was broke. I didn't have my other landscaping job, So, like, it's amazing how the universe aligned, whatever you want to call it. And if I would have started during any other time, I probably would still not be here, So a lot of this position and this success has to do with the timing.
Yes,
It really does. And so it sounds like we're getting it right this time.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So what would you feel like your biggest motivations are? Last time it was, some things like seeing Isaac launching your clothing line, getting a car, moving out. But it sounds to me like it's not just money types of things. It's also gaining a lot of experience, marketing, people skills. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Anything else that you are pretty motivated by or you want to gain from this?
I guess other than just the experience and what I can learn is the money. I do still need to move out pretty soon, and I need to be working up hard towards that and getting money for that. So.
Okay. Cool. And how are you doing with your buying your ticket to Hawaii to see Isaac? It's bought.
Yeah.
Woo!
I leave next Friday.
Cool.
Yeah. Super excited. So in like 8 or 9 days, I think.
Dope.
Yeah.
How's that feel?
Great. I'm so excited. Looking forward to it.
Cool.
It's gonna be great.
So you're just so I have the dates down properly. When are you going to be gone?
Oh yeah. So I'll be gone the 1st through the 10th.
Okay.
I get back at like 7 in the morning on the 11th. So technically, I guess the 1st through the 11th.
Okay. Perfect. Sounds good, Alyssa. So, gone. We have a great vacation. So does he still have to do his normal studies, or does he have a little bit more leniency because he's his guest in town?
He's still gonna have to do his studies. And I think I'll be going with him from what he said. So basically it'll be like I'm doing YWAM for a week. And then weekends we have complete free time. So I think when I first get there, we're gonna go camping that weekend.
Cool.
And then I think every day after 3 we have like free time and all that. Kind of can do whatever. And then there's like night sessions. So it'll still be fun. We'll still be able to do other stuff.
Yeah.
But
Sounds like a good mix.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good mix. That'll be really cool. Well, congrats on getting that. And that's a big deal. So, and I know you have an interest in possible YWAM, so this will be a good kind of practice run, if you will, type of thing. So, be cool. It's beautiful out there right now, I bet.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited. Looking forward to it.
Oh, we'll wave to you from the Cayman Islands.
Oh yeah, because you're me the Cayman Islands
yeah,
at
same
the same time.
Same time, we'll both be gone, right? So,
yeah. When do you guys leave for that?
The 4th, and we get back the 10th.
Okay.
So it'll be almost identical.
Yeah.
You'll have a little extra time than us, but it'll be cool. So, and you won't have a cast, so you'll actually be able to enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
I
forgot about that.
Don't get injured. Don't rip your Achilles. Good. So everything's fine on here in your hobbies and everything we talked about. So do you still have other jobs right now, or other than the fashion line, or
no? I do not.
No. So this is pretty much it. Cool. How about your cheer practice? Are you still doing that?
No, I'm not.
So you have a lot of time.
Yeah.
Cool. So we can pack you up with work, huh? Work you to the bone.
That's the plan.
Did you ever order your Fast Start prizes?
I did not.
Didn't. Never at all?
Never.
Got it. Okay. So you're at 3,500 now. I know that took a bit longer than you initially wanted.
Yeah.
But we can look into that, and maybe we can set up a bit of a contest for you with ordering them. Let me make sure that nobody ever ordered them either. So I just want to make sure we're on the same page with that. But I think that we can look into ordering those. And the nice part is, now that you've, had your initial time and then, your returning of your Fast Start, we could look into possibly ordering you the entire homemaker. So I think that would be a huge confidence boost for you. And if you had the entire set to demonstrate, man, I mean, that could really pay off for you in a big way,
Okay.
So did you have a previous contest about doing that setup with Bailey?
No.
You didn't. Okay, cool. Well, because I'm a division manager and I like you, I can bend the rules a little bit for you. All right. So, remind me at the end, but we'll look into that. I don't want to run out of time.
Okay.
Cool. So coming back to it now, you're at 3,500 and you're at 2,900 for the campaign. So almost 3K. And what's exciting about that is that you still have more than half the campaign left. So I know you spoke earlier this week about intentions of hitting at least 30-30, if not getting like 20K before the summer starts.
Yeah.
And then also just a little bit more depth about, wanting to play a big role in our organization moving forward. So I want to talk a little bit about that with you and tell you a little bit more about like just what an assistant manager in training position entails. And then also give you a little bit more discussion about like, kind of how it works. You're going to try it on for 2 weeks. We'll try you out for 2 weeks. And then if you're liking it and things are going well, we can talk about the next step for you for sure. So
Okay.
how much of that have you talked about with Bailey?
Not a lot, kind of just briefly going over it. He showed me a piece of paper. We kind of just went over that, but didn't talk too much in depth on it, but yeah.
Cool. Good. Well, this would be a good place to start. So
Okay.
tell me about your strengths. What do you feel like you're the best at, or a couple of your strengths coming back to it now?
I think I'm more determined this time around, have more time. What else?
Do you feel like you're good at making phone calls? Do you feel like you're good at dropping down or demonstrating the product, like specifics of the job?
Specifics of the job, I feel like I'm really good with talking to people actually and getting them to like me, me liking them, developing a relationship with them more. And I feel like that's what makes my demos go really well.
Yeah.
Is because it's not all business. And a lot of my demos sometimes, like, I keep on track, keeping a decent amount of time, but we've been just like talking in between it too. And like, I really get to know them. And I feel like that helps me a lot too.
Good.
Yeah.
So we call that rapport and taking the 10 minutes before the presentation, but it also isn't just the beginning. It should happen all throughout the presentation. So, and if you're good at building rapport and getting trust, then you should be really good at getting recommendations as well. So, all right. So determination, rapport, obviously have more time on your hands. Anything else you feel like is a strength of yours this time?
I feel more confident with all the stuff, doing all of this, considering I've been through training twice.
Yeah.
And since I did do it once, I'm definitely more confident in it this time around.
Cool. So you feel pretty strong about your demo and presentation skills. Good. You have a strong personality, so I think that is good. What do you feel like you have to work on, or if you could give yourself maybe 3 areas of improvement, what do you feel like those would be?
Confidence in dropping down. Confidence in going after the sale more, even though I have made sales. I'm not very pushy with the people, so I feel like I could upsell a lot more than I do. I could sell more than I do, bigger.
Okay.
But so I guess people's like knee-jerk reactions, I don't really go against those or say the objections. Yeah. So definitely do that a little more, and I feel like I can, I guess.
Okay. Cool. So dropping down, handling objections, feel pretty confident on the phone and asking for referrals, or are those some areas of improvement for you?
Referrals, I feel pretty confident doing.
Okay.
Last demo, I got 15. And then there was.
Did you use the Peeler program? Or?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there was one time I tried the Peeler program, and the lady, she was young. She was super cool. Talked to her for a long time, and once I got to the recommendations, she shut down. She's like, I'm not comfortable giving out names and numbers. Like 100% was like kicking me out of her house at that point. And so that happened twice. And so I, for a while, felt like I was about to hit a wall and not having anybody to call.
Yeah.
Getting those 15 recs definitely helped. So I'd say I'm pretty good with getting those.
Okay, cool. It's, just a quick tip is, first off, use the Peeler program every time. It's not going to work every time, but use it every time. Tonight's team meeting is going to be about handling objections and role playing, so that's going to be really good for you. And Bailey's giving a talk on that. And then, in addition to that, realize that 1 out of 10, and this is what I always tell people, but 1 out of 10 people is not going to give you any recommendations. It doesn't matter who does a demo, doesn't matter how cool you are, doesn't matter how much they like you. They just aren't in alignment with networking. My 5th grade teacher bought over $600, $500 from me in my fast start. And then I asked for recommendations and she just shut down just like that. And she's like, nope, I don't give out names. So I was like, hey, no big deal. I try to handle it, make it cool and comfortable. And I was like, what about my 4th grade teacher? I mean, she knows me. Like, can I just get her number? And she's like, Nick, I don't give out names. And I was just like, okay, right? But on the contrary of that, 1 out of 10 will give you a ton of names. Those are the people when you walk in, they're like, oh my gosh, Alyssa, I don't know if you know, but I know a lot of people that cook, and you're like, wait, right?
Yeah,
and it's like, you're already
I've
looking forward to it. And you've had that too. So what I encourage you to do is not let a bad experience influence how you do your demos for all your future ones. Because oftentimes the mistake I see reps make is they get an experience like that, which is really damaging to your confidence sometimes. It can almost make you question a lot, but don't let a bad experience like that influence. Now, if you had that happen like 10 times in 1 week, then I should go and watch your demo and be like, why are you being high pressure and pushy? But if it happens just like once in a while here and there, that's just because you're in a people business and it's going to happen. You can work for a really cool company, but every now and then you're going to get a negative customer. right? That's just life. But what I like to tell people is that 8 out of 10 people are going to give you what you ask for. And that's why if you use the Peeler program and you ask for what you want, you're always going to be winning the referral game, and you won't have to risk much on that. So, but strong answers for that. So what do you feel like you like most about the job at this point? What do you enjoy?
I've liked the atmosphere and the competitiveness. So I'm a very competitive person. So something like seeing our names and how much like our sales and stuff on the board, it's like, ooh, I need to be higher up. I want to be higher up, or I want to beat her.
Yeah.
So
you have a few more 2K weeks. That's going to pay off for you.
Yeah,
so
hopefully.
yeah, you'd be at 10K in no time. All right. So the competition, the atmosphere, and probably the flexibility. It's allowing you to have the freedom and not have to worry about coming to me saying I'm going to Hawaii and worry about losing your job, right?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, sometimes we take for granted, but at other businesses, it's not like that,
Right.
So it's easy to take that, take advantage of that here. Okay, what do you dislike about the job, or anything you don't like right now?
I'd say there's nothing I don't like right now.
Okay, cool. Anything you're concerned with or you have questions about?
A little bit about the AM position.
Okay.
Definitely something that I want to do. Again, for the experience and learning and all that. But since I have so many friends that have worked here, just some of the things I've heard about the job. I kind of just concerns, kind of something that I'm still going to do the job.
Sure.
But just kind of want to talk about it a little bit, I guess.
Cool. Well, let's do this. Let's talk a little bit more about your roadmap to success. I want to do a little bit of a napkin talk vision planning with you. Talk a little bit more about the AMIT position. And then after we do all that, we can jump into Q&A. Does that sound cool? All right, sweet. So let me get all set up. So I'm going to let you keep this, so you don't need to make your own copy. I've seen people make that mistake before, and they're like, all right, let me do all this. And just for the recording, I'm going to see how this works here. That's going to be on the side. So we'll do this-ish. I don't know. Let's see how this works. All right. I wish I had like a thing coming out of the top. So I'm going to make this called Alyssa's Napkin Talk. So we call this a napkin talk because oftentimes we do a management conversation or a vision statement out in a coffee shop, right, where people are and stuff like that. So it works out pretty well for us. So, and you know what? I need to stop the share on that screen so this becomes large on the recording. That is going to be much better. So that'll be good. Cool. So so let's talk. So today is the 21st of 19, and let's talk about where you're at. So at this point, we are in basically almost March, aren't we?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll put, basically, Feb 21st here, and let's talk about where Alyssa's at. So at this point, you're at 3,500 in career sales. Do you know your averages or anything like that right now?
I do not.
Okay, so let's look into those. And that's the nice thing about Web PDI is it keeps all of your totals here. So your average sale right now is $387. So did you know that?
I did not.
Cool. How do you feel about that number?
Decent.
Okay. Do you know what the national average is?
I do not.
It's like 300.
Okay.
So you should feel good about that.
Okay.
So, and that's probably because of a couple of larger sales recently, right?
Yes.
And being able to bump that up. And also the importance of targeting high quality clients. Recently, since you came back, what do you feel like your closing percentage is? Do you feel like it's 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10? What do you think you're shooting?
Closing with my sales and all that?
Yeah, like how like if you did 10 appointments, I know you might not be doing that many, but if you were to do 10, are you closing 6 of those deals, 7 of those deals? What do you think?
Right now, I mean, I've done over 10 demos, only ever had 1 no sale.
Wow.
So
pretty high.
So pretty high.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So I always like to err on the side of caution. When I'm coaching a rep, I never go above an 80% close when we're breaking down goals, because things can change in an instant. You can have a bad week, right?
Right.
And I'd rather making more money than we expect than the opposite.
Right.
So under promise, over deliver, right? So it's just a good thing to look at. So we'll put the average order there and we'll put the 80% closing there. So that's pretty exciting. And then you just got an AMIT position. So promo, which is exciting. And then we have you slated for a summer 2019 AM role. So that's very exciting. And I think that one of the things that would boost your confidence with that, Alyssa, would be the Monday calls that we've talked about. And you and I can discuss what those look like. But I'm going to put down action steps that we can start to add to it. And I think one of those is Monday, 9 p.m. AM boot camps. So that would be the first one. And those can be done, like I said, from home, in your PJs, on Zoom. You don't need to be here that late at night by any means. So be safe and be comfy, and we'll roll through that for you. That'll be really good. Cool. So good. So let's talk a bit about between now and summer. So what's coming up is we've got May. And when we get into May, this is the official start to the summer. And between now and May, we have this week that we're in, and then we have 8 other weeks. So I'm going to call it 9 weeks between now and summer. Cool? Okay. So in these 9 weeks, one of them, well, kind of 1.5, you're going to be going to Hawaii, right?
Right.
So that kind of takes out that. And then I'd say the other half of that is going to be you going to summer kickoff conference that happens in April.
Yes.
So let's call it that 2 of those weeks are 2 weeks are travel / conference. Does that sound fair?
Right.
So that leaves you with 7 weeks to work. So on average, I've been looking over some of the stuff you and Bailey talked about. How many demos, like what's the best way to break down a goal is based on 3 things. How much money you want to make, how much like accolade or competition, where you want to rank in the office, right? Or maybe you want to hit a certain goal, or based on how hard you want to work. So I don't know which one's most motivating to you, but how do you see yourself, like how many demos would you like to be doing consistently on a normal week?
On a normal week, I want to have more than 12 because I'm like, that's still pretty low, but I'm not doing very many right now. And I have been doing pretty good with those. So even though I'm still, 2K sales a week, that was with 3 demos. Yeah. I still want to be doing more than that. So okay. I'd say 12 to 15 a week right now. 12 to
15 a week. All right. Yeah. What do you think is holding you back from getting to 12 to 15 a week?
Phone calls.
Okay. How do you feel about phoning?
Not too confident with it. And it's not necessarily a phone call. It's like, I do have like my chicken list of people I don't want to call, and it's just I don't want to do the demos for those people, so I'm not going to call those people. But definitely phone calls.
Okay. So is it the actual act of calling? You feel like you need to improve your skill, or do you feel like what's happening is we need to get a little bit better at your focus with it?
Maybe the focus. Yeah.
Just having a more detailed plan and execution of the plan.
Right.
Cool. It's most people, by the way, so it's pretty normal. So don't be embarrassed about that. All right. So I'm going to lowball it. I'm going to say that 12 to 15 would be a fantastic goal, but let's break it down and say 10, right? Because 10 demos is basically 3 a day, 3 to 4 days a week. And the thing is you might end up booking 12 to 15 when you get your phone skills and commitments on track, but you end up not actually getting all those completed, and that's totally fine because naturally about 70% of appointments we book end up rescheduling, or 70% get completed of what we booked. So if you book 12, you might complete 9 or 10, and that's pretty normal. So we're going to say 7 weeks of work, right? We're going to do 10 demos a week. So I don't know if you've ever broken down numbers, but that would be 70 demos completed. So that's pretty exciting. And right now, like I said, you're already at about 3K for the campaign, which is pretty cool. So if we do 70 demos, we can bust out a calculator and we can start to break down some numbers. So 70 demos at, would we say 80% close?
Yes.
So 80% close. Oops, that doesn't work. All right, so that'd be 56 sales. It's pretty exciting because one of the things you want to start to look at is how many clients are you adding to your customer base. Obviously, your main thing is going to be building up your clothing line and things like that. I really like that. I think that's fantastic. But one of the things I want you to really think about is how are you going to be in a position where you can have a good residual customer base where every holiday season you got $2 to $3 grand in orders that you're just making some money off of, even 2 and 3 years down the road. That's something I did in college and really paid off for me. I had about $5,000 in automatic orders that would come through between November and December every year. Mm-hmm. So when I was making 50%, I was basically earning $2,500 around the holiday season. And that was cool because as a college kid, I was able to give my parents more money, better gifts than they were giving me sometimes, right? And that just felt good. So at 3, we're going to call it, I mean, we could do 380. I'm going to do 300, just worst case. I think sometimes when you start doing more demos, the quality of the demos sometimes can go down. And so I want to worst case it, right? Obviously, you can make a lot more than this, but if we multiply it times that $300 average order, which is pretty insane, why don't you read that to me? What would you sell between now and the next 9 weeks?
$16,800.
So we'll put $17,000 in CPO. How's that feel?
That's pretty good.
Pretty awesome. So if you're at 3,500 now and you add 17 grand to that, that's going to put you over here, starting off the summer at about $20,000, which is right in alignment with one of the things you mentioned that you wanted to do. And again, that's not doing 12 demos a week, that's doing 10 demos a week. And that's also giving you all of your Hawaii trip off. And that's also giving you the weekend of the conference off, So now you might get sick again, have to work extra hard to make up for that. Or, I don't know if there's any other trips that we'd have to look at, but that'd be pretty exciting. What's more exciting than the 17 grand, I think, is all the benefits that gives you. So what I like to do is put down all the, what I call WIIFM, and all the things that you would benefit from. One of those things would be hitting Dirty 30. We are going to do a Dirty 30 event, probably like Heyday or something like Main Event, and a fun dinner out. So you get to basically hang out and go have some fun for free on me. And you get to kick it with all the top level CSPs and top level managers too. So Dirty 30 is the first one. Second thing that you get is you get the President's Club letter. And you remember what that is, the hand signed letter from the CEO?
Yes.
So that's really beneficial for building your resume and bolstering your future. This would guarantee your AM promotion. So that would be really exciting too. And then when you start to think about income, you would be a top 10 ranked, right, in the division. Top 10 in the division. So if you're competitive, that feels really good. And you're not in school, but if you built a team builder and you started to get some buddies on the team, then you could earn some extra cash from that too. That's something we can discuss. But once you've sold 20 grand, you made $5,000. Once you're at 3,500, which is where you're at, you've only made 400. So 5,000 minus $400. So you would earn a total of $4,600 in income between now and the beginning of May. So what do you feel like you'd do with that kind of money?
Most of it would be saved. Most of it would probably go towards bills.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So you got some bills to catch up on, and then savings, and you don't seem like you're the wild child that goes make it rain or anything like that. So that's positive. And I definitely want you to build wealth, but I definitely want you to think about every time, here's a great thing that I like to think about. Every time you should be making calls, but you don't, for whatever reason. Maybe it's just fear-based, maybe it's just lack of motivation, whatever, right? Just imagine $4,600 in the bank, right? And like, maybe what you do is you make a little like fake dollar bill that has, $4,600 on it. And you just like put that on the front of your blue book or on the back of your phone. And you're like, is it worth it? I think so. Right? Because that's a lot of freaking money in the matter of 9 weeks, you know? And if you were to say, hey mom, it's got a job, and that doesn't include your AM pay, but hey mom, it's got a job where, I can be flexible with my schedule, they'll work with me on my trips, and I can gain incredible experience, right? Bolster my resume and make $4,600. Like, that's a really cool thing, So pretty awesome. Cool. So this puts you in May. And the only other thing we'd put in here is April. And I'm going to put it down here actually, but we need to also plan on attending April kickoff. And this is April 13th, 12th and 13th. Cool. And this is in Houston. So we'll pay for the event, food, everything like that, and then you'll just pay for getting down there, like pitching on gas and carpooling. So Cool. So just make sure you block those dates off and no distractions. And we'll send a bunch of Snapchats to Isaac and say, Hawaii is cool, but this is cooler. For only these 2 days, and then you can learn again. All right, so we go into the summer. Any questions on that?
No.
How do you feel about that?
I feel pretty good about that.
Cool. You feel like you can make the commitment to getting those 12 demos?
Yeah, I think that's doable.
Okay, so let's talk about the summer. 20,000 is your career sales, right? So this is pretty exciting. And then by that time, you and I can talk and we can start to figure out what your strengths are. If you really love recruiting and helping us build the team, then we can talk about getting really good at running interviews, making PR calls, getting people on board. If you feel like, hey, I just love leadership with, motivating people and, inspiring them and influencing them, then we can talk about leading a sales team. You can pick the color black because that's your favorite color, and you can pick your own team color and team name, and it's a lot of fun. And what's going to make this summer really unique is that we're not going to do all of our conferences here in state. So in June, we're going to be going down to Dallas and matching up with that division. So all of the number one events team and our division are going to come together down in Dallas. We're going to go to Fogo de Chão. We're going to rent some baller party buses in a really cool city in Dallas, and I will leave it at that. You're gonna have a fun night.
Super cool.
The second time is SC2, and we're going down to Georgetown, which is just north of Austin, and that trip is going to be phenomenal because what we're going to do there is we're going to be going down and instead of doing like the limo night out, when you sell 10K for that trip, you're going to be able to actually go to. We're renting a houseboat, party boat out on Lake Travis. And after the event, we're going to go out there with people from all of Austin, all of Houston, all of Dallas, and all of our division, 4 of the top divisions in the #1 region. And we're going to have a good time. So
Yeah.
there's going to be some highlights from this summer. It's going to be way different than the previous summer.
Sounds good.
The other thing that's going to make this summer really cool is that we're going to have a full staff, which means we're also going to have staff schedules, and we're going to have a lot more organization with them. So one of the challenges I've been talking to Claire about is last summer, we didn't go into the summer with full staffing. And then when we started to promote staff, they weren't fully prepared or fully trained. So there was a little bit of confusion, and there was some expectations didn't meet reality. It was like, hey, we need you during this schedule. And then people fell short of their goals, and then they started coming in more often than they necessarily needed. And that became not just a problem with extra weight on our shoulders as leaders, but also that became a problem because it was taking away time from their personal life and also time away from their personal sales, right? And so they weren't selling as much, which is always your #1 responsibility as an AM, is to personally sell, lead by example. And it's also your highest profit point. Like even when we're selling, 100,000 this summer, well, 100,000 at 1% is not the same as selling $4,000 at 50%. You know what I mean? Like you're going to make more off of that. So anyway, we're going to fix that. And that's what these Monday calls that we're doing every week are going to help with. Cool. So let's talk about your summer goals. If you're at 20K in career sales, what's exciting is now you're starting to make 35%. So you're now eligible for bonus. And this also makes you eligible now for events training. Now, events training probably would not be given to you until like August, but you're not really going to need it because the summer is pretty slow with events. But that's a really cool thing to be eligible for and qualified for. And you can also be able to become service call trained, which means now when you meet people for that already own Cutco, you can sharpen the knives in home and then also learn how to upsell them, learn how to upgrade them, learn how to add on package deals. And it kind of gives you an additional layer of income in your business.
Okay.
So cool. So let's talk about your summer. Summer that we have before we get into August, right, is 18 weeks long. So in those 18 weeks, let's talk about what would happen. So I'd like to say that in those 18 weeks, 1 week you're probably going to be traveling. I don't know if you have any trips, but 1 week you're traveling. 1 week's normally a transition week into the fall, whether you're going back to school or maybe taking a transition role with the company. And then one of those weeks is also probably a week that you just get sick, life happens, you just never know. You know what I mean? So I like to break it down into 15 weeks total and or 18 weeks total and 15 weeks working. Does that sound fair?
Yes.
Cool. So out of those 15 weeks, 10 of those weeks are going to be normal. Now, we can really go into saying you want to be doing 10 demos a week as a normal week in the summer. I'm not going to set that goal for you. If you want to work that hard, that's fine. But most of the time, if you're an AM, depending on your role, you're in the office 2 days, 3 days, sometimes 4 days a week, depending on how much your percentage is that you get paid. And then on top of that, you're also going to be wanting to sell. So I never expect during a normal week in the summer that my AMs do any more than 7 demos each week. Does that sound fair?
Okay.
So that would be 70 demos. And we already did the math on that from this. So that would give us about, even if you didn't get better, right, of another 17K in sales. And then you're going to have another 5 of these weeks. And these 5 weeks are going to be push periods. So push periods are, I'm sure you remember, they're excuses to work hard, compete, make a name for yourself, win a trophy. This year we're going to be going up against other divisions. So it's going to be even more competitive. You're a competitive person, we're going to want you to step up for those times, right? So what I like to say is SC1 is in June, and that would be normally like a 5K push. The reason I don't put a bigger push there is because that's still gold period when we're doing a lot of PR work, we're doing a lot of team building, we're doing a lot of recruiting, so you're a little bit more hands-on in the office. Cool. The second thing would be SC2. This is normally in the late July and August, and this is where every AM goes after $10,000. So assuming that you go after 10,000 for that push, you might not hit it, but you definitely want to go after it, right? And that's where you go on the houseboat and the lake party and everything like that, which is pretty neat. So what's cool about this is this would give you a total of 17K in sales from normal weeks. And then this would give you another 15K in sales from those push weeks. Now, do you have any big trips or any vacations that I'm missing or anything like that?
Not right now.
Okay, cool. So just checking. I never asked that earlier, so I was like, she's going to hit me with something surprise. You started giving me those eyes, and I was like, devil. All right, so we're going to call that another 15K. So if you add that to 15K in the normal weeks plus 17K or 15K in push, right, and 17K in normal, then what this does for you this summer is give you a total of 32,000 in sales. So what's cool about this is now that you're at 35%, once you're at 10 or at 30,000, you start to make 40%, right? So the first 10,000 of this would be at 3,500, and then you've got another 22K in sales, and that 22K would be at 40%. So 40% plus the 3,500, so that brings you up to an income total of $12,300 in income. Now, the cool thing about that is that does not include your office income. So I don't know what your office income will be. We'll have to talk about what your role and responsibility is, what your schedule's like, right? Things like that. I'm going to assume that we can probably do about 0.5%, okay? That would be lowballing it. If you wanted a little bit more influential role and you really were serious about getting this 20K number going into the summer, I could see you making more like probably 1%, right, than 0.5%. But what I can guarantee this summer is that we'll sell 500,000 in what we call new business, which is reps below 30K in career sales. Cool. So that's what you get paid off of as an office staff. Once they're over 30K, then that rep's getting the income because they're getting the bonus and everything like that. So the AMs don't get paid off that. And that's why as an AM, you want to build the team with new recruits because that's how you get paid the most. You know what I mean? So if you're making 0.5% off that, right, then that would be an additional $2,500. So if we add that to the income total, and again, that could be upwards of $5,000 if we hit a bigger number and you're a 1% AM, but I don't want to stretch that or anything like that. So if you add that up, that's looking at a total of about $14,800 in income for the summer. Now, I can't guarantee that to you because, of course, you would have to be consistent with 7 demos a week. You'd have to be prepared to go big for the push, right, for both of the pushes and go after that. But I know that I can set the plan up with you. And the one thing you haven't thought about is, I don't know if I have the leads for that, Nick. Like, man, that sounds sexy, but like, dude, like, come on, I don't have that many people. Well, here's what you haven't thought about. If you're doing 70 demos in the next 9 weeks, 70 demos, if you're just averaging 5, and you just told me you've got 15, right? You would have 350 new leads going into the summer. And that's not including the additional 70 demos plus your push periods that you'd have. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we're talking in the neighborhood of the next 6 months that you would have a total of an additional 700 leads. It's really hard to say that out of 700 people, you can't find a way to keep your schedule packed.
Right.
You know what I mean? So what do you think about that? Questions, concerns?
No, that sounds pretty good.
Is that higher or lower than we thought you'd be capable of making in the summer?
A little higher.
A little higher than you thought?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you compare that kind of income to any other job, right?
Yeah.
Now, again, you're going to be busy and you're not going to have as much of a social life and everything like that. But think about all the benefits that gives you with opening your fashion line, building your resume, learning how to open and operate a business, right? And everything like that.
Yeah.
Cool. So then we get to August, right? And in August, what are all the benefits? Well, you had 32K in sales on top of the 20K you're at. You're now at $52,000 in career sales. That's assuming that your averages have not improved over these two numbers, right? So what do you start to do? Well, now you're doing events training, and you're not just doing events training, you're also working events, right? You're also hitting Dirty 30 again, which is pretty exciting, right? You've got a ton saved, right? So stacked savings. Again, how much you have saved is up to you. And one of the big things that I want to talk about is Leadership Academy. Right? Now, I don't know if you ever want to, but you are definitely somebody that I want to target and I want to talk to about running a branch office in the future. Again, I don't think we need to really go into much depth about that right now, Alyssa, but I think that it's definitely something that we should revisit after the summer because you're the type of person that, with another 8 months, a lot of coaching and training, I could give you a top territory, and in the matter of the summer, you'd be eligible to win a trip, around the world. Melissa's working really hard on going to Paris right now. I know Bailey and I are about to go to Cayman Islands. It's really exciting. And
March 4th to the 10th.
So it's a pretty exciting thing. But Leadership Academy, and also what that does is qualify you to be able to go to Olean, right? So then what we have is another 17 weeks of the year until we get to December. And I'll kind of just run by these really quickly. But let's say out of those 17 weeks, again, you work 15 of those, right? You're only doing, I don't know if you're planning on going to school, but maybe you step down from the AM role. Maybe you keep it. AM in the non-summer is much different than AM in the summer. But if you did 10 demos, right, per week, this could be an additional 150 demos, right? And, based on the averages of what 70 could get us, right, and got you 17 grand, this could be an extra 32K in sales, right? Which means you'd finish up your year right around $84,000 in career sales, which is pretty exciting, right? Now, obviously, 32 grand by that point, you're now making a total of 45%. So if you take $32,000 and you multiply that times 45%, this fall, you'd be earning an additional $14,000 in income. And if you add that up with the $4,600 that you made, and you add that up with the $14,800 that you made, you'd be looking at about a total, right, of $33,000 in income this year. Do you know what the average salary of an American is right now?
Is it about 30?
About 30 to 35,000, depending on where, like, what stats you do.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
But the difference with this job is it's flexible, it's fun, right? It's building your resume, you're getting to travel, right? You're you're learning skills that are going to help you with your other business and entrepreneurship, right? And you're going to have fun with a bunch of friends doing it.
And I'm also currently 17, will be 18 in April, so make that as a 18-year-old just out of high school.
Yeah, it's terrible start to life. Terrible start to adulthood.
Awful.
So pretty exciting for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, because you're young and graduated early and everything like that. So this is really exciting for you. And when I think about this, we could also add AMK in there. We could also add in you going to the Olean trip. So that's another thing, and that happens in October, right? And you can talk to Bailey about Olean, but come and check out how Cutco's made. And yeah, talk to Isaac. He went on the trip too. So, and who knows? Maybe you and Isaac both open an office head to head and beat the boyfriend. I mean, I'm just dream talking, but it gets pretty fun.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how we get this done, right? Because if this doesn't happen, this is tough to happen, and if this doesn't happen, then it's pretty impossible to talk about that. Also, the other thing on top of this would be the CSP trip, and right now. Every year that changes, but and I'm going to count this as your first year because, again, it really didn't count the first time. You didn't make much progress, right? But if you sell $60,000 in your first year, you get to go on the CSP trip. And when you go on the CSP trip, every year it's different. This year we're going to Yosemite. Next year we're going to be going out on a cruise, and that cruise is going to be probably an Alaskan cruise. So I'm just going to show this off, and it's going to be pretty dope. So that is her plan.
Yeah,
you like it?
I like it.
Questions, concerns, comments about it?
No.
Sweet. So a couple last things. We need to talk about how the heck you're going to knock out 10 demos a week, right? Because this needs to make sure that it happens, and that would be including, right, this week that we're in. So how do you get 10 demos completed every week? Well, you probably need to book 12 per week. And if you want to book 12 per week, then you need to make 120 calls. That doesn't mean you need to have 120 calls. Leads, but it does mean you should probably have in the neighborhood of 30 to 50 leads, and then you just cycle through that throughout the week. So how many leads do you currently feel like you have right now?
Probably less than 30 or less.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that your initial list, chicken list, and referrals, or is that like just referrals?
That's referrals and initial list, not the chicken list.
Got it. Okay. So have you had a chicken list PC with Bailey or something?
I did with Jerry.
With
Or
Jerry?
we just kind of sat down and did that.
Sweet. Cool. Chances are you know a lot more than you're thinking right now. It's just getting you over the nervous, hump of calling them and things like that. And again, I wouldn't look at the whole list. That's a little overwhelming. I would look at the list and say, what's one person I could pick this week? And if you just picked one chicken list person or two chicken list people every week, pretty soon you'd start to say that wasn't so hard. And you would start to kind of just convince yourself, right, that you could start to call all the others. And that's what I'd really recommend with that. Cool. Okay. So just a recommendation and a tip. Cool. So make 120 calls, and then make sure that obviously you're coming to staff meeting and the team meeting, but those are already in your schedule normally. So cool. All right. I'll let you hold on to that. Congratulations.
All right. Thank you.
We did something. We made something cool, huh? All right. So last thing I'm going to do is walk you through your AMIT internship, and I'm just going to share the screen right now with this document, and then we'll wrap up. And I know you've kind of already gone through this with Bailey, but here's your AMIT internship. So this has a little bit more detail about kind of what the heck it is, and a little bit more of an explanation behind what you'll be doing and responsible for. So starting this week, I know we're going to do it for about a week and a half, and then you're going to go on a vacay, so no biggie, but we'll still expect you when you come back. So just don't let Isaac plant any negative seeds in your head out there.
Okay.
And you better come back from Hawaii. So it says the AMIT internship. So what it stands for is Assistant Manager in Training, right? So the 4 requirements that we want from you. Number 1, a weekly staff meeting. It's best to do that in person, but even when you are gone on that trip, if you have the time that afternoon based on schedule, you can certainly jump on Zoom and join us if you feel like it. I'm not pressuring you into it, but if you want to learn, you're more than welcome. So sometimes people live so far from the office that they have to do a web conference or something. So, but we just want to make sure that you're there for that, because that's the most important meeting of the week. It's where we talk about standards, we talk about expectation and accountability, and then we also talk about the schedule for the next week to make sure everyone's on the same page. Cool. Second thing is recruiting activity. So every week you should try something new. Sometimes it's going out on campus, helping us put up posters, helping us put up flyers, working a campus table or career fair. Sometimes personally recruiting, and that's a big thing that we want to build in your schedule. We can work with Bailey on, and just coming in the office, making some personal recruiting calls, trying to build the team, sharing the job on social media. It's funny, a lot of people are like, oh, everybody I know already knows the job, they don't want it. Well, you'd be surprised, because they didn't want it last time we talked to them, but things change, right? Just like things change for you. So we want to definitely reach out and connect on those things, The next thing is also interviews. So that's not just running interviews, that's also helping watch an interview or helping second man an interview. We've noticed a really big difference in relationship when people are watching the interviews, and there's an extra body in there just to have a testimonial and just show how cool the culture is, So those are just some definite things that you can look over. I'm going to give you this anyway. This is what we call our vector video interview. This is the whole packet with scripting, outline, process, everything. And so this is really good for you to start to read over, start to look at, and start to get the details on, because this is what you'll be running this upcoming summer. And we want everybody to be trained on how to run an interview during the summer. So you can check that out. Cool. Third one on here is to complete 3 demos a week. Obviously, your number 1 role is to lead through sales, right? And if you're not doing demos, you're not selling Kako. So I think your goals are much higher than that. But even if you have a tough week, don't let it drop below 3. Cool. And we'll talk about standards in the staff meeting in a sec. And the last one is mentor 1 to 3 reps on the team. Ways to mentor reps is to coach them through consistent communication. We call PDI personal daily interaction. A weekly PC, which stands for a paycheck meeting or personal coaching. And then, of course, just helping them break down their goals. Your breakdown with them is probably not going to be as in-depth or as long-term as that, but you can talk about, hey, let's work hard this week so that we can get to this checkpoint and this checkpoint and be one of the leaders for the month, And, if you start to learn those processes, you'll be so much more effective in the summer. So you can also take them on field trainings, take them on demos with you, and just be one of those leaders that's a positive influence in the office. So that's pretty much the role right now. We don't have much more depth than that. We just want you to lead through sales, be at our meetings, and make sure that you're helping out with building the team. Cool? Cool. Benefits, I know you've already covered this with Bailey, but the income, obviously you get a little bit of office pay. I actually already added you to office pay last week, so you got a couple extra bucks in your paycheck. So you're welcome, because I promoted you, but we hadn't talked yet. But in the future, once we make a decision to go AM, we'll want to withhold that so that it's out of sight, out of mind, and you see your savings just start to stack up. The money's always your money, so don't fear that, like, oh, I'm not getting it. Do I get it later? Of course you get it later. So people like Isaac, people like Anna, they saved up well over $1,000 over the course of the summer. And that was all their money. Now, obviously, the goal is to put that and invest that into you opening an office. But if you ever have a change of heart, things don't work out that way, the money's your money. And for both of those people, I just released it on their paycheck. They got it the next week in their account, and it wasn't even a big deal. You know what I mean? So sometimes things like that can get blurred with conversations with friends and what you've heard. That's the truth of the matter. The money's your money. You've earned it, but we like to put it in savings because you might be good with your money, but most young people aren't. And if I give you $5, you don't have it tomorrow. You know what I mean? So I'd much rather put that into a safe spot. Cool. The other thing is you get an increase. Income is driven by personal sales, and you get increased attention and accountability from us. And you'll definitely learn that at our staff meeting today. Experience, you get experience managing people, you get experience mentoring people, you get experience recruiting people. 3 of the top level skills that you can put on a resume to land any dream job that you want to in the future. And 3 of the required skills if you ever want to be an entrepreneur or business owner. Because without doing those types of things, it's going to be tough for you to build a business. Otherwise, you just kind of work for yourself and nothing ever changes, And the last one is the stepping stone. It's a great opportunity to move into AM, and AM is really the launching point for anything you want to do. Almost every one of our CSPs started in the management world as an assistant manager. Some of them ran branches or districts and then decided it wasn't for them and moved into the events team. But I will tell you that getting into events team and getting into management, those are two of the top ways to really level up and go big with our companies and move forward. So cool. Questions, concerns, comments, anything that we haven't covered that you want more detail on?
I don't think so.
Cool. High five.
Yeah.
I feel like that was good PC. Thanks for letting me lecture you for a while.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
yeah, and I'm excited about your future. So.